Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered. Today it's going to be a match between IdrA and Beautiful Life here on Heartbreak Ridge. Left side of the map, we have the 500 APM player. It is Beautiful Life. He is Orange, he is Protoss. And on the right side of the map, we have the 600 APM player. It is the Red Terran player, IdrA. Yes, IdrA played Terran back in Brood War. Once in a while, I get a StarCraft 2 fan who watches it because it's IdrA and says, hey, why isn't IdrA playing Zerg? Zerg was the race that he played in StarCraft 2. He switched there from Terran when StarCraft 2 came out. Well, the beta came out anyway. And he pioneered the Roachmax for Zerg and basically caused Blizzard to change roaches from 1 supply to 2 supply based entirely on that strategy. So he left his mark on StarCraft 2. That is pretty much inevitable based on who he was in Brood War. I know you're here for Rage, but we will see. We will see. If he loses, then pretty good chance there's some Rage, but if he wins, there's a not very good chance that he will Rage. But the last ZVT that I cast on Fighting Spirit, yeah, he had some words for his Zerg opponent and won anyway. Oh, a gas steal. Oh, hold on a second. I feel like Beautiful Life knows who IdrA is and he's trying to tilt him. Because that is a very valid strategy in any game. If you can tilt your opponent and make them think with their emotions instead of their head at all, then you should do that, right? All is fair in love and war. And RTS games, especially StarCraft, definitely qualify as war. Man alive. Harassing the SCV, building the barracks. This is so good. This is so good. And then he steals some gas and gets out of there. Who is Beautiful Life? Who is this guy? I want to meet him. I want to know who he is and what he was thinking when he was playing this game. There's no way he remembers this game, right? We're looking at this and we're like, hey, back in 2007 when you played against IdrA on ladder that one time, remember harassing him and what you were thinking at the time? And he's like, what are you talking about? No. I don't know who this is either. I looked for Beautiful Life, looked on the Smurf name list, but a lot of these games are from Europeans and North Americans, and the Smurf name list is generally for Koreans, from what I've discovered. So doing our best here with it, but if you know who Beautiful Life is, let me know in the comments. We will get that updated. No problemo. Look at these SCVs off the line, too. This is lost worker time. I mean, it's 100 resources lost for the Protoss. Yes, because that's how much an assimilator costs, but oh my god. And he's tossing down a pylon in here to mess with the pathing. Look at this SCV. And this one too. He has to come all the way back. Oh, this is so annoying. I'm surprised IdrA hasn't said anything. I mean, he's doing SCV scouting over here, but there's no gas steal. There's no supply depot getting tossed down somewhere that's really annoying. The assimilator is still here too, and then he cancels. All the lost mining time for IdrA, I think, adds up to more than what Beautiful Life has dedicated to this harassment. I really think it is. Somebody would have to do the math for me, but it's kind of impossible to tell exactly how much lost mining time we're dealing with. And look, Dragoons are in production. We're going for a singularity charge. Another gateway comes up. This is definitely some dedicated Dragoon pressure here, and IdrA's expanding, but he is scouting. So expanding without scouting is super dangerous, but he's expanding and scouting. He knows it needs to toss up a bunker because Dragoons will be here sooner rather than later, and having a bunker is the difference between him dying and surviving into the mid-game. So excellent response here from IdrA. He doesn't seem tilted. He hasn't typed anything that would indicate that he's mad. Maybe he's mad on the inside. Maybe all of his rage is in the inside here. He might, I don't know. This might be a game where if he wins, he is salty. Like, you did all that stuff early on and I still crushed you kind of stuff. That'd be good. That would be good, wouldn't it? Anyway, welcome to the channel. This is Falcon Paladin. I do 5 of these a week for the Brood War and StarCraft 2 the rest of the week. If you like StarCraft, this is probably the channel where you want to live. If you love all StarCraft, I find, however, I'm a bit of a rare breed that way, in that I love Brood War and I love StarCraft 2 equally, and it scratches the itch of my love for StarCraft no matter what it is, and I understand a lot of people really like one and hate the other. In fact, that's definitely a majority opinion, but if you love StarCraft like me, this is where you want to be. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe. There is just nothing but daily StarCraft for you forever if you do so. I'm 5 years into this thing. I can think maybe I've missed two days ever in the history of the channel. So that's pretty good. I mean, in fairness, I haven't gone to the hospital yet in the last 5 years, and I haven't really unexpectedly been unable to cast. I've definitely had vacations that I plan for, and I just schedule the cast to go post whenever they need to using the handy-dandy YouTube scheduler. But yeah, so, I mean, if you want nothing but StarCraft, this is the place to be. All right, what's happening in this game? Well, still not an expansion from Beautiful Life, which I'm worried about for him, to be honest. The Dragoons are here. The pressure is real. Singularity charge is done, which means there should be a spot for you where you can fire and not get smashed in the face. There we go. There we go. And all firing of the bunker. The SCVs are pulled off in order to handle this. The requisite number of SCVs are here based on how many Dragoons are here. It's basically 1 SCV per Dragoon is the basic math if you're dealing with this as Terran. So yeah, and then an SCV repairing this barracks too, which you want to keep alive just for walling purposes. And just really, again, definitely some dedicated Dragoon pressure, which IdrA saw coming and prepared properly for it. No arguments, man. Tanks in production, going for siege mode on that machine shop. Engineering bay up. He's possibly worried about DTs because he really doesn't have any more information beyond a bunch of Dragoons. Is that a 3rd Nexus? Beautiful Life getting a 3rd Nexus behind this. Okay, I was worried about his macro. Look at all this lost mining time, too. IdrA! IdrA, your mining time. Look at this. He doesn't even worry about the tank. He's just like, it's good. We're going to keep firing on this bunker. Maybe move that one back? Oh, just... And then siege mode shows up, and when you hear that sound, you run. Nicely done. Beautiful Life has been playing this exceptionally well. Both players' APMs have kind of cratered down to 250, which is still faster than I can play. And statistically faster than you can play, too. So this isn't Flash consistently sitting at 400, 500 APM because he's a robot. But this is good. This is high-level pro stuff here. I was worried that maybe Beautiful Life was not someone who could hang with IdrA. But based on the first 6 minutes here, I feel like definitely he's someone who can hang with IdrA. He's saturating his natural base. He's at 31 probes compared to 35 for IdrA, which is just fine. Now, how do we see him deal with the tanks? Because what I've seen work against Terran is you jump on top of these tanks. As soon as they move out, they're going to have to move out eventually to secure a 3rd base. If you jump on those tanks and sacrifice all of your Dragoons, but you cut the tank count in half, that is a fair trade. A lot of Protoss players seem definitely afraid to do that, and I can understand why. If it goes horribly for you, you just lose all of your Dragoons and you don't kill any tanks at all, or maybe you just kill 1, and then you're in a terrible position. But if you can keep that tank count below, you know, the 10 and the 12 that really ruin your day later on, and just overall, keep coming back in over and over again and cutting that tank count down while sacrificing Dragoons and expanding a ton, which is what we saw Light do against Flash when Light played Protoss that one time. You got to play like Zerg. If you're going to beat Terran as Protoss, you got to play like Zerg. That's just all there is to it. So expanding again might not be a bad idea. This is a weird map for that, though. You have the center base here, which you only take if you're really far ahead or you're desperately behind. There's this base in the top left as well you can take, but it's generally kind of considered the opponent's base just for ease of access. It's weird, I know, because it's way up here in the top left corner. But this bottom right hand belongs to the orange because you can easily just kind of come out your front door and then ding, you're there. Whereas if you come out this way, you got to go around and down and across, and it's a whole thing. Generally, that's how we see the map split in half is diagonally across this middle ways. But yeah, I mean, no real surprises here, I don't think. Definitely you got to go for Zealot legs. Definitely you're going for Dragoon upgrades and Zealot upgrades and maybe some DTs in the mix, maybe some Storm to deal with the tanks too. We've seen that attempted, and it's worked before. But I'm just saying, the way I see it work for Protoss is whittling down that tank count early and often. And if you don't do that, you're going to have a bad time. It's a really bad time. I mean, if your opponent shows up on the map with like 20 tanks, you're just toast. Stasis is great, but as long as the Terran player is not an idiot and he's not clumping up his tanks like this in all one big ball, you can't stasis all of them at once. If they're spreading them at all, suddenly you're in trouble. The tanks are upgraded. Obviously, those upgrades are coming in now. We can see that now. Vehicle upgrades in production. I really think Beautiful Life needs another upgrade, or another expansion, rather. And an upgrade, too, which he's not working on. But expanding up here, even just expanding down here, just for additional million Zealots you're going to throw at your opponent, that's good. But the Observer sees this, sees IdrA's moving out, trying to solidify a 3rd base. He's very, very carefully doing this. Because if you get caught with all of your tanks unsieged right here and Dragoons jump on you, you die. So he's rolling forward, sieging, rolling forward some more, sieging, rolling forward some more, sieging, bringing these ones from the back, sieging. He always makes sure that his tanks are covered by other tanks. It is the way you gotta play. It is slow, but it's really, really effective. It's how I beat a lot of the campaign missions in StarCraft Brood War. And StarCraft 1 is just by siege rolling, right? Siege frog hopping here. Frog hopping, what's the... Toad hopping? There's a word for this. Hopscotching? No. Leapfrog. Leapfrogging! Thank you, brain. I am having some major old person moments today. Well, that's one. Leapfrogging the tanks. Just bringing some vultures and building some turrets like this and some Goliaths and... La la la, leapfrog, 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 and everything dies, and it's slow, but it's steady, and it wins the race. So, kind of maybe trying to set up a base down here to the south is Beautiful Life. I don't know. Observer flies into its death because Beautiful Life is not paying attention to it. I don't like this. I don't like how passive Beautiful Life has been here. I mean, IdrA didn't really leave a window where he had to worry about that, obviously. But maybe. If you can come up this way with some zealots and maybe make a run for it, you can jump in here and kill a bunch of stuff, I would guess. The tank coverage on this path up here is not great. There's a couple missile turrets, which is fantastic, but it's not enough. And yeah, so definitely fourth base here. Out of Beautiful Life. Oh, faster observer movement. We do see that sometimes. It's that one. Gravitic Booster versus Gravitic Drive. They're very close things, but it's shuttle speed versus observer speed. Templar Arbiter Tribunal coming in. Rather, already have the Templar. There we go. Working on the Tribunal here. Yes, that's where we're going. So we're going to see some stasis, which is great. I mean, I've seen Protoss players try to beat Terran without stasis, and it just doesn't seem great. You need it. I'm not saying that you just go for the strategy of jumping on the tanks and that's it. You still need stasis. You know, stasis or storm. A bit of an engagement down here to the south, and vultures do full damage versus shields, but not versus actual HP, which is why you'll see them attack this Nexus a little bit. And again, just whittling down the shields on these Dragoons and outnumbering, right, in a 1 to like 7 situation is going to be pretty good. The vultures can't get in there because of a really nice wall, and then Dragoons are ready for you. So, IdrA doing what he can to harass while kind of setting up, getting some decent coverage as to what's going on outside outside his own house. Having that vision is how you win games. Stasis in production. Let the PvT commence. Fourth CC on the way here from IdrA, as pretty much all's quiet on the Western Front. I'm trying to see if anybody's harassing or just the colors are all mostly... That is going to be a tank drop for sure. So that's an attempted harass. Most of the color clashes I see are observers just looking at stuff, and that's not an engagement. Oh, nice save, though. Saving most of those units with the dropship, and then the tank set up. Ah, the probe count. The probe count is down to 70 right now for Beautiful Life. Dragoon count is enough to where they can handle this. It's only 2 tanks, and the dropship doesn't want to be here. She dies anyway. In the 5x5, indeed. And some probes die, but a couple tanks are out, and some vultures died, and a dropship, so I don't think that was a good trade for IdrA. But just trying to keep some fear of Terran over here. You don't want to just sit back and do nothing forever. That's why you have vultures. It's for the harassment. That's why you have dropships for the harassment. And eventually you're going to have a big scary army, but you don't want your opponent to get their big scary army before you get your big scary army, else you die. This is a lot of zealots. You got 1-1 upgrades. I keep needing to upgrade or change my console here, my console skin, back to what it was. I was messing around with it and forgot it was here and keep forgetting it's here. So good for me, I guess. I don't really see it most of the time. But still, it bothers me that it's like missing stuff. There should be icons here showing us shield and attack and armor upgrades. Boo. Boo on you, I say. Charon boosters coming in to try to snipe off some of these arbiters. It's a maxed out Protoss at 14 minutes, y'all. This is what we're looking at right now. Maxed out Protoss against 183 supply IdrA. And it's just... That is so many tanks. Is it too late? Is my only question here. Arbiter? Stasis, please? What the heck? Why are you here? Oh, okay. I guess that was super late. But it did catch about 5 of the tanks, which is nice. Is it enough? Would be my question. And the answer seems to be, yeah. You know what? He's able to wipe out this entire northern army. He's harassing the front door a little bit of IdrA. But the problem is, can he stick around and kill these when they come out of stasis? And I don't think he can. There's too many reinforcements from IdrA. The defender's advantage really kicking in here. The ability to make units and have them at the battle faster than your opponent can do that. And all right. I mean, if that was just a whittle down the tank count display, it succeeded. A bunch of tanks died. It's 152 to 145 supply. Both players lost about 50 total supply there. Trying to expand down this bottom right side. That poor probe. These vultures, though, they've been doing some work today. How are the upgrades on the mech? 2-1, great. Really nice stuff. Working on 3-2. Vultures trying to sneak down to this southern base, but Dragoons are waiting. Spider mines are getting cleared out by the all-too-common combination of Dragoons with an observer. They just like doing this stuff. And Vulture's getting shut down, so this is... I really feel like this is an evenly matched game. I feel like both players are pretty much on the same page, skill-wise and ability-wise. I mean, the Arbiter stasis was late. I kind of feel like if he stasis is when the Arbiter shows up. He didn't get EMP'd. I thought for sure he would get EMP'd, because it's researched by the science vessels here. But I thought he'd get EMP'd, but he didn't, and then he tossed down the stasis like way after... He's already getting smashed in the face by a missile turret, which was very strange. So reaction time maybe not that hot. Boy, that tank setup, that is the sound of like 15 siege tanks going. And I see EMP on the Arbiter. Maybe you want to pull back if you don't have any stasis available. Beautiful life, just a thought. Maybe attacking onto tanks on the high ground is a terrible idea too. There you go, get on out. Get on out, little doggy. Get on out. All right, so we've got a base up on the Terran player if you're Beautiful Life today. You're also maxed out when IdrA's sitting on 164 supply. You know, you have 2 bases up, actually. IdrA's still a 3-basing Terran. I thought he had snuck this 12 o'clock, but not yet. Almost. Almost here. Isn't that Rainer's Raiders? That's Rainer's Raiders icon there on the command center here. I think it is. Ah, that brings me back. That really takes me back to the campaign, which I really need to play probably once a year. Just because it's so good. It is so good. It holds up. It's fun. It's always fun. StarCraft 2 is that same way. The campaign for StarCraft 2 is beautiful. They really understood they could get creative with unit compositions and add abilities that would be super broken in multiplayer, but it didn't matter because it was only for the campaign. If you've never played the StarCraft 2 campaign and you just hate watching StarCraft 2 multiplayer stuff, like, StarCraft 2 is free to play. So you can just go download it off of Blizzard's store. You can play the campaign for Wings of Liberty. You can do all the overpowered Terran stuff you want. And then if you never want to do anything again, ever pay for it, that's fine. I'm just recommending you do that. Give it a try. It's not multiplayer. It's not about giant death balls in the campaign. You really don't have the ability to do that necessarily. And it's fun. Give it a try. Anyway, attacking here into this siege position. Stasis, please. Not enough energy. Okay, these EMPs have been on point. Beautiful storm, though. Like, really, really nice storm on those tanks. It's just, I've seen Protoss players do really nice storms before. And it hasn't made enough of a difference in the end. Dude, that High Templar really wants to do another storm, but doesn't have the energy for it. Archon coming in here, probably going to die because it's being attacked by everything. And there it is. It finishes, but is done at the same time. And these units, there's really no hiding back here. Maybe you're just waiting for time. 3, 4, 5. Storm now. Storm now while you have storm available. There you go. Tossing it down, at least taking some HP off of these tanks a little bit before you all die. Do not go gently into that dying light, is I believe how that goes. So I think Beautiful Life, boy, he's got a good chance to win this game. I'm feeling like he does. I don't know who he is again. He's got to be somebody who's decent. IdrA was a decent Brood War player. He wasn't like going to win major tournaments or anything. But he finished well in foreigner events and cups. He's good, right? I mean, this is pretty good macro. This is nothing to shake a stick at. And Beautiful Life is feeling so confident he is expanding to the middle, which I've seen that go well for Protoss on this map. I've seen it go really poorly for Protoss on this map. The tanks are sieging up to shut it down. Look at that, just outside of the range too. Like, that is whoop, very nicely done. And they're just trying to take this top left. And once that happens, every base on the map has been taken except for the center one, which again is impossible to hold if the game is at all close. And if it's close, usually we don't see people try to take this. But Beautiful Life feeling his oats today. And again, a bit of a lull falls over the house here. Hey, did you know the Falcon Paladin store has a sale going on? If you go to falconpaladin.store and put in the coupon code SUMMERCROWNS, one word, you can get 20% off anything you buy at the store through the rest of the month of February. Check out the link in the description. Meanwhile, a recall into the main base, which is not everything. I kind of like that. Sometimes we see Protoss players just do everything into the main base here, and then they get stuck and die. But this is like, you know, a small part of the army. They took down a factory. They took down some supply depots. Did some good things here. And then when the army shows up from IdrA to wipe it out, it's not as huge of a deal. Got major engagement over here, though. Trying to attack on in. We got the tanks firing. We got the Dragoons on it as well. We got Goliaths trying to take down these Arbiters. That is too many tanks, and Beautiful Life has to get out. But the army's heading down to the south, and that is really bad. That is really bad for Beautiful Life. If this army gets on top of a base like this, it's not even the whole thing. He just sends 4 tanks. Ooh, great split. Great split from IdrA. And, well, the probe count is not super healthy. The army inside the main base does finally get taken care of. 3 kills on that Dragoon. Nothing massive. A bunch of buildings are dead here, but nothing too crazy. These 3 tanks do get jumped on, which I'm sure IdrA was prepared for. He knew that was going to happen. But he's going to send the rest of his army in and say, you hear that sound? That is the sound of 7 more tanks sieging up. And there's just not enough here for Beautiful Life to really do anything about this. I mean, these Dragoons are dead. This is a bit of a rampage. This is a bit of a start of a rampage here. Beautiful Life does send some Dragoons to the top left to try to wipe out IdrA's attempt to expand up in that direction. And sure, that's great. Ooh, stasis on these tanks in that little choke area. That is not bad. Kind of like that, to be honest with you. That is some beautiful stasis, too. Like, holy crap. Okay, all right. It was looking really scary for Beautiful Life for a second there, but he wiped out a Terran base. He stasis a giant amount of tanks here from IdrA. This is close. This is a good game. It's not a steamroll like I was worried it was going to be. Just because anytime there's a named player matched up against somebody I've never heard of, I get worried. But we're fine. I think we're good. Nice EMP on the... Wow. All 3 of the Arbiters get EMP'd there, which just means that you're not doing a great job keeping those guys split. Do like you do with the tank count and split. Oh my gosh, the probe transfer, though. No! Beautiful Life's army gets wiped out. The Goliaths are dealing with the Arbiters, and suddenly it's 153 to 125 supply. IdrA's way up here. In overall supply, it's only 58 probes. The southern base is going to die. I'd send the probes over here, to be honest. I mean, the Nexus is dead, so at this point it doesn't really matter anyway. Heading out into the map, and maybe trying to find little areas where there just aren't that many tanks. Ooh, that Zealot gets on top of these 3 tanks. That's humongous. Those 3 tanks are not covered by another one, which is a bit of a mistake here. And after 87 shots, the Zealot will kill it. It is 3-3 for the Protoss here, and 3-2 for the Terran. Pretty good storms. Southern base dies. Right side base is going to get wrecked as well here. Oh, look at the repair. Look at the defensive matrix and the repair on this tank as he tries to fight off the Zealot. That's hilarious. Desperately running down to the bottom right to try to save this bottom right base, which is his only source of income right now. Jump on it, Zealots. Get in there. Get in this group too. Cloaking the Zealots is really nice. Probes getting it. No, why are the probes fighting? Oh, the Nexus is dead anyway. Okay. So the Nexus is dead, but the tanks are gone. It's 139 to 91 total supply. IdrA looking good. Looking really good here. Again, basically 2 bases of income right now. One of them is minerals only. Only 1 best being geyser that is fully returning the amount that you want out of it. The other 2 returning the 2 per trip. Which is why they're still being harvested, despite the fact that they are being depleted. Attacking, this is not something Beautiful Life can win by attacking into these tanks. I don't think it is. Nice EMP. God, EMP right before the attempted stasis. right before the attempted stasis. I mean, the sound of Dragoons dying all day is something a lot of Terran fans love to hear. So the Dragoons are getting wiped out. It is 136-36 supply. Good game from Beautiful Life, and IdrA is your winner in 25 minutes and 4 seconds. Oh my goodness. What an incredible TVP. It was a lot of fun. I know you came here for rage and you didn't get any rage. I get it. But man, that was great. Good attempts. I mean, IdrA ended up losing this base. Oh, but he lifted the command center. Never lost that. He was able to hide it in here for a minute and then drop it back in, which I think was massive for him. And never lost this 12 o'clock either. I mean, never lost a base, except for this one, unless you want to say that losing a command center is how you lose a base, but that's not what he did. So, whew, not bad stuff. Again, I just think the EMPs were on point. They were absolutely draining those Arbiters out of energy right before they were trying to stasis. The timings could not be any better for IdrA there. The stasises were sometimes very good, but he just didn't have enough there for the last few battles. IdrA's macro was insanely through the roof. He had all of his production facilities available. I mean, to be fair, so did Beautiful Life, but he just wasn't quite able to keep up there with the production that IdrA had rolling, and the tank count was just too high. And that is how this generally tends to go. What a match! Hit that like button if you enjoyed it, by the way. If you're a Terran fan, you probably did. End of the day, 206,000 points for IdrA, 192 for Beautiful Life, 370 units produced, about 350 for both. But IdrA killed about 100 more, which is a big deal in the grand scheme of things, and that's how you should do if you're mech. You should be more cost efficient with your resources. A bunch of buildings died there for IdrA, 230 down, but it didn't matter in the long run. And then resources, Beautiful Life, outmined, for gas and for minerals, and outspent by about 7,000, but didn't keep that tank count quite enough. Amazing. All right. Well, that's going to be it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.